Hey guys! So, as I was saying at the end of the last video, this is something that I'm going to cover at the beginning of the class period. So if you know you're going to be in class for this lesson, don't watch the video. But if you know you're going to be absent because of an AP test, then please watch this video so that you're not confused when you're doing the practice. Finding the distance between polar coordinates. We're going to think back to first semester, because we learned how to find the length of the third side of a triangle if we knew two sides and the angle in between. And when we have polar coordinates, let's say, not black, let's say that we have this point and this point. Let's say that this point was -2, 300. And this point was 330. We've got now the length of these lines. It's 2 and 3. And we can find the angle in between because we know the angles used to find those. Now, to find the angle in between, you would think you can use the difference. In this case, 300 minus 30 would give you 270, which is that angle, and that's not what we want. We want the angle in between, so we're going to change this to 2, comma, away from 300 is 120 when you subtract 180. And now we can say 120 minus 30 equals 90 degrees, and that's actually going to be this angle between. Now, how do you find this, whether it's 90 degrees, 130 degrees, or anything else? Well, with 90, obviously, we could have used the Pythagorean theorem for this particular example, but if you have any angle between, we can use the law of cosines, where A is the first radius you know, B is the second radius you know, and C is the smallest difference between angles, the first and the second theta. And I described how to do that up here. Let's do an example of that. Alright, finding distance between polar coordinates, let's find the distance between 4 pi over 3 and -2, 2 pi over 3. So pi over 3, there's pi over 6, pi over 3, remember that's about the same as 60 degrees. And I'm going to go out 4 along the 60, 1, 2, 3, 4, along the 60 rotation line. That's my first coordinate. Keeping in mind that this distance is 4, right? Now, we've got -2, 2 pi over 3. Well, 2 pi over 3 is here, so that's my rotation line, and I need to go backwards 2. So that's my second point. Keeping in mind I know that length is 2. I need to find this distance, C. So I've got my A, I've got my B. I need to figure out what this angle is. Well, I know this piece is pi over 3, and I know that I can find this angle because I went the negative direction pi over 3, because this was 2 pi, or 6 pi over 3. I'm getting rid of one of those, so this is another pi over 3. Add those together, and my difference in angles should be 2 pi over 3. Now let's plug that into law of cosines. C squared equals A squared plus B squared. Now I'm going to be using the absolute value of B because remember we had to change B in order to find my coordinate. I could have said 5 pi over 3 or 2 comma negative pi over 3 in order to find this pi over 3 thing. So I wanted to use the positive 2. Always use the positive. Minus a times b times the cosine of c, which we found is 2 pi over 3. That's the angle between the points. Now, at this point we could just plug it into our calculator, but what if it's on the non-calculator section? Oh no! Well, this is 16 plus, that's squared, 4 minus 8 times, what's the cosine of 2 pi over 3? Well, let's see. 2 pi over 3 is in the second quadrant. We know that the cosine is going to be negative. The reference angle is pi over 3. We get that from the denominator. And that's like 60 degrees, so this is root 3, 2, 1. Cosine is going to be negative 1/2. 16 plus 4 minus 8 times negative 1/2 is going to be minus negative 4. So that's 24 is my final answer. Yay! The distance between here and here is 24. Wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Tricked you. That is a common mistake. Remember that 24 isn't c, it's c squared. It doesn't make sense for this to be 4, this to be 2, and that to be 24. What? It needs to be the square root of 24. Now, can we simplify that? What perfect square goes into 24? Well, I can say that's 4 times 6. So that's 2 root 6. And that, my friends, is your final answer. It makes much more sense for this length to be 2 root 6 instead of, say, 24. All right. I'll see you next time. Bye.